Namaste, everybody. Welcome back to Soundarya Lahari Sadhana. We will explore a new verse today, which is verse number 22, one of my favorite verses. And it's also very popular. If I have to pick three verses among the 22, the top three verses, this will be one of that. So from verse 15, 16, and 17, it was a meditation on Vāgdevata. Then 18 onwards, it was meditation on different form of Devi. And the last verse, which was verse 21, we ended with the blessing of Chidananda Lahari. So we ended there. Now, Shankaracharya is taking a little pivot here. So we don't have meditation verse here, but it was showing a supreme blessing by Devi. Supreme blessing to Bhakta, to the devotee, particular devotee. She's showing her supreme blessing is what this sloka is about. Now, I mentioned earlier that if I have to choose three most important sloka from the 22 that we have so far explored, this will be one of them. And the other two will be the first sloka, Shiva Shaktya Yukto. The second will be, my pick will be number 4, Todanya Panibhyam. Other than those two, this will be the third one I would pick. Multiple reasons. One, it is actually showing the bhakti, which was the reason why we started this sadhana, was to explore bhakti and to get us more towards Devi. So that was the intention. And from that perspective, and then here it is also showing the characteristics of Devi, which is giving quick blessing, meaning she doesn't even let the person do the full prayer. Before the devotee utter the full prayer, she's ready to grant that wish. That's one reason. The second is that every single sloka verse has yantra. We are not exploring that in detail in any of that session, but for this particular sloka, the yantram is actually Sri Yantra. But there are 100 different yantram for 100 different slokas. But this one, sloka number 22, the yantram is Sri Yantram itself, which is the ultimate yantram. Because every devata has a yantram. Sri Chakra or Sri Yantram is the ultimate. And that's some of the importance of this sloka. Now we can go into the detail. Let me talk about the summary first and then go to the verse word meaning. So here a devotee is actually ready to pray to her that I'm a servant of you and I want to pray that, oh Bhavani, I want you to bestow your compassionate eyes on me. That's all they want to pray. But then the person did not even begin. He started with that first two words. By then, she's ready to grant that wish or the intention of that devotee. Not only is she bestowing the intention of the devotee, but beyond that, it's ultimate is what she's offering to that person. Ultimate as in Sayujya Padavi, that is oneness with her. So that's kind of the summary. So with that, we will go into the word meaning. Bhavani Tvam Dāse Mayi Vitara Dṛṣṭim Sakaruṇām Iti stotum vanchan kathayati bhavanittvamitiya tadaivatvam tasmai dishasi nija sayujya padavim mukunda brahmendra spudamakuta nirajita padam. It's one word. I broke it down so that it is easy for us to pronounce. It's simpler to pronounce, but there is a lot of Tvam, Tasmai, Bhavani. You can see multiple. So that is one of the importance of this sloka. We'll see that. So let's go through individual word. Bhavani Tvam. Bhavani is used 2 times here. So there is a first one is Bhavani Tvam in the first line. And then there is Bhavani Tvam in the second line. One is used as a noun, the other is used as a verb. We will go into the detail, but here it says, "O Bhavani, Bhavani Tvam Dāse Mayi." Dāse means a servant, Dāsa. Dāse Mayi, I'm your servant. So the first line is that prayer that the devotee wanted to make the prayer. So that is the first line is the 7 words. So that 7 words, Bhavani Tvam Dāse Mayi Vitara Dṛṣṭim Sakaruṇām is the prayer that the person wants to make. So Vitara Dṛṣṭim, Dṛṣṭim means gaze or the sight or glance. Vitara means to distribute. Distribute glance actually means to look at me. Look at me how? Sakaruṇām, with compassion. So this devotee is praying to Devi that Devi, me, your servant, wanted to pray that what is the prayer? That please look at me with compassion. That's all the person wanted to pray. Iti stodum vanchan. Vanchan means with that desire. Iti, like this. Stodum means to do the stuti or prayer, like this. Desiring this first 7 words, desiring to pray to Devi like that. Kathayati Bhavanitvam idiya. Kathayati, he is reciting Bhavanitvam idiya. So he only recited 2 words, Bhavanitvam, out of the 7 words. Idiya, ya means whoever is praying, that sadhaka or the devotee, whoever is praying. So he started with only the 2 words. Tadaivatvam tasmai dishasi nija sayuja padavim. Tadaivatvam, so immediately, tadaiva, tvam is you, tasmai is to that person, whoever we are talking, the yaha, that originally prayed devotee. So tasmai, dishasi, grand or bestow is the meaning. So tadaivatvam tasmai dishasi nija sayuja padavim. The wish granted was Nija Sayuja Padavim. Nija means yours. Sayuja Padavim. Sayuja Padavim is the one of the mukti. There are different types of mukti. Bhagavatam and many other scriptures has different level of mukti. So the all other level of mukti, the bhakta and Devi are still staying too different. For example, Salokya Mukti is that you will be in the same lokam as Devi. Sarupya Mukti, you will have the same rupam of Devi. Like that. All other Mukti, you and Devi are separate. But in Sayuja Padavi, there is no difference between you and Devi. So you are provided that complete oneness with that Devi. So that is the Nija Sayuja Padavim. Mukunda Brahmendra Spuda Maguda Nirajida Padam. Here her feet is being described. That same feet is being prayed by who all? Mukunda, Brahma and Indra. So we saw it in the first verse, right? Haristvam Āradhya Pranata Jana Saubhagya Janani. So Brahma, Vishnu, Mahendra, everybody does the stuti of Āradhya or worship of Devi. So here, a couple names are mentioned. So Mukunda is Vishnu, Brahma is Lord Brahma, and Indra is Lord Indra. So all these people are doing, it looks like, this is a Kavi Bhavana, it looks like they are doing the Arati to Devi, because what is happening is that they are all coming one by one and bowing down in front of Devi and then getting up, right? When they are doing the bowing down, so they're imagine their crown with which is sparkling all the emeralds and jewels that is in the crown, and then each time the crown is going down and going up and crown is going down, so that light of the all the jewels from the crown, actually it looks like to her feet they are doing a Nirajanam. Nirajanam means arati. The priest will do the arati with light, right? So this looks like they are doing a arati to that Devi. That same feat is where devotee will be given the Sayujya Padavi. In short, the individual who is desiring to pray to thee with the words, O Bhavani, bestow your compassionate glance upon me as your Dāsa, your servant, they will find that as soon as they utter the word O Bhavani, the Divine Mother instantly grant them Sayujya Padavi, the highest state of complete oneness with Devi, and whose feet divine beings such as Vishnu, Brahma and Indra bow down, and that appears like, this is again Kavi Bhavana, as if they are performing an arati with their crowns. This is actually showing the characteristics of Devi. One, she has another name called Twarita Devi. She can't wait to give the blessings to everybody. So she doesn't even wait for the person to completely utter the prayer. Before that, she grant them the wish. In other words, a devotee may be asking for material benefit. She knows that there is something even beyond that material blessings or varam that she can provide, which is her Sayujya Padavi, which is that thou art that, right? Like Tattvamasi, that she can offer even bigger than that. That was the same thing in the sloka number 4 verse, right? Todanya panibhyam. Everybody else is showing vara abhayam, but she is providing beyond that. That was that verse. And there is two word meaning to Bhavani. Bhavani is appearing in that first line, Bhavani Tvam Dāse, and then it is also showing Bhavani Tvam Vidya, right? So the first one it's actually a noun, meaning Bhavani is as in Parvati. It's used as a noun. Bhavasya Patni Idi Bhavani. So Bhava is Shiva. Shiva's Patni Idi Bhavani. So that is like a noun. Now the second one is used as it's a verb. A root word of that Bhavani is bhu. And you are very familiar with this bhu word. The meaning is to become. In Sanskrit, based on the noun, this verb changes. For example, that bhu becomes bhavantu in one context, bhava in another context, bhavani in a third context. Let's take a few examples. So you heard the sloka called Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. So here Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. So everybody Bhavantu become, right? Sukhi. Then another one, if you have to say that you become Vijayi, Tvam Vijayi Bhava, right? So that Bhavantu, the earlier it was Bhavantu and here it is Bhava. But then the same thing, if I have to say about me, Aham, then it becomes Aham Bhavani. It's the same word. The root word bhu becomes Bhavantu, Bhava, and Bhavani. Bhavani is for Aham, like for me, like Aham Bhavani. Let me become Bhavani. Aham Bhavani, that is actually the same Mahavakyam, Aham Brahmasmi, or Tattvamasi, thou art that, or thou art Bhavani. Here, second time, it is used as like you become. The reason why she is giving the Sayuja Padavi is because that she thought, not that she doesn't know what is the intention of the devotee, but she's giving that devotee even more than what he's asked for. She is taking the meaning, not the Bhavani you, but Bhavani Tvam, meaning unlimited consciousness. So the Aham Bhavani. So that is what she's taking the meaning and then providing the devotee the Sayuja Padavi. So her own status, so becoming one with her. She make that devotee become one with her. So that is there. That is the meaning there. In one of the book, I saw Lakshmi Thara's translation. The devotee is not praying by knowing this Aham Bhavani and all that. So he is simply using the word Bhavani, please grant me your compassionate gaze. That's all. He doesn't know all Tattvamasi and everything, right? He's just asking for Bhavani, her compassionate look. That's it. But what Lakshmi Dhara is using is that you touch it, Agni will burn you. Whether you know it or unknowingly, it will burn you. So that is kind of the example that is used. Whether you ask for it or do not ask for it, or you intend or not intend, but she will give you. So then you would ask that, can everybody who is praying this thing, or at least having the first words, will get it? No, right? So that is where that secret thing is placed, where it says that Dāse, that is not a simple word, right? Bhavani Tvam Dāse, Mayi Vitara Dṛṣṭim Sakaruṇām. So Dāse here represents that somebody who is surrendering to Devi with that much devotion. So that surrendering, mental surrendering, right? We keep talking about that word throughout the verses that we have seen so far. So that surrendering is the quality of that devotee. So with that devotional surrender, if you pray, you don't have to complete your prayer. Then she would grant you that wish. Many of you who have been in the Vedanta and the Bhagavad Gita class with Rajesh ji, we have all been very familiar with the formula, right? First, you have to have a chitta shuddhi, and then chitta sthiti, and then jnanam. Once the jnanam is there, you realize that you are that thou art, right? Chitta shuddhi is achieved through karma yoga, and chitta sthiti is achieved through the upasana yoga, which is the sadhana that we are doing. So we purify our mind, do the shuddham of chittam. So purify our mind and we stabilize our mind. Purified, stabilized mind will be ready for the jnana. So, okay, wait. So we are talking jnanam here, but verse is talking about bhakti. So I'll come into bhakti in a minute. in Vedanta, this is the formula. So you first make yourself ready. So majority of 99% of your work should be to get yourself ready for this ultimate knowledge. Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Siddhi is where we will be spending most of our time. Then the jnanam is an immediate thing. The moment that we get jnanam, we will be realized. We will know that who our real swarupam is, right? So now, jnanam, what is the connection and difference, if there is any, between jnanam and bhakti? In chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is explaining 4 different bhaktas, right? There is Artha Bhakta, the second is Artharthi Bhakta, the third is Jitnyasu Bhakta, and fourth, if anybody remember, it's called Jnani. Oh, wait, we were all talking about bhaktas, and all of a sudden, where did the Jnani comes from? This actually tells us that there is no difference in Jnani and Parabhakta. So that ultimate bhakti and jnanam, there is absolutely no difference. Not the Artha Bhakta or Jitnyasu Bhakta, but the one who is doing the Parabhakta, complete surrendering to Devi, who does not have their own individual identity, that bhakta, that Parabhakti and jnanam is exactly the same. So jnani will always find bhakti, and then bhakta, the Parabhakta will always find jnanam. Right? When we say jnanam, jnanam is tattvamasi, right? That thou art, aham brahmasmi, the mahavakyam, right? Which is me realizing my swarupam, right? My swarupam is consciousness. My swarupam is that Shuddha Chaitanya. And there is no difference between me and Ishvara. So that is the jnana. But then again, that whatever sentence that I mentioned or all the rishis mentioned, when we hear, it's only vijnanam to us because we are just grasping them through our 5 senses. So it doesn't become my experience. It's just a knowledge. Knowledge meaning not a pure jnana. So in order for that vacuum to become in my own experience, I have to be ready. That's where that chitta shuddhi or purity and stability of the mind, that becomes an important part. And the upasana, the sadhana, that is one thing that makes us more clear, pure, and stable. So continue the sadhana, marketing of sadhana one more time. So continue that sadhana. I didn't tell what this difference between these 4 bhaktas are. So Artha Bhakta are the ones that who calls Ishvara or God whenever they are in a dire situation, right? Like whenever they want to get out of that extreme worst situation. So that is when they remember God. So that's the Artha Bhakta. And Bhagavan Krishna says that I like all 4, right? But my favorite is Jnani. So the Bhakta are climbing the ladder. The second is the Artharthi Bhakta. So Artharthi Bhakta, he is using God as a means to get its final destination, which is getting material benefits. So I will do this upasana, or I will do this offering to get me a job, to get my kids married, or anything, any of those materialistic desire. So God is not the final destination, but I will use God for my final destination, which is the materialistic benefit, right? So that is the Artharthi Bhakta. So now Jitnyasu Bhakta, the third one, is the one who understands that there is something more about God. So I want to know more. So Jitnyasu Bhakta is the one who is spending time on a Wednesday evening in a class like this instead of watching TV or a movie, something like that. So they want to know more. So they learn scriptures, they're doing upasana and all that thing. So they know there is something more. We are not there yet, but we know that there is something about God. So that is where that Jitnyasu Bhakta, he's curious about God, who wants to attain God. And then Jnani is the one who is already realized. So the one that has a Parabhakta, so that that person does not separate them from Devi. So he's in one with Devi or one with Ishvara. So that is Jnani. Anybody who is praying Bhavani Dāse Mayi Vidya Dṛṣṭim Sakaruṇām, will they get it? No. So that keyword was the Dāse. So because only by that extreme devotion and extreme surrender, if somebody pray, then she grants, right? Once our vasanas are removed, or in tantric term we call the pabas are removed, then the jnanam will immediately get in, and then we will be able to realize. Now, until then, we are actually thinking that we are that limited body, limited mind, limited buddhi. Until then, we will have limited understanding. For explaining that limitation, we can use an example. The scriptures use this example of Ghatakasham, Mahakasham. Right now, I think in this body, there is me, that my Swarupam is inside this body. And I am that mind that is thinking, having this perception, cognition, and emotions, things like that. So I'm thinking that I'm this limited body. I'm only that thing, is what I'm thinking. As opposed to, I am that infinite being, infinite consciousness that is unlimited, boundless, vast, but I'm not there yet. So the example to understand the difference between that is Ghatakasham and Mahakasham. Ghatam means a pot, the clay pot. If you take a clay pot, inside the clay pot, there is akasham, there is space. And outside the clay pot, there is space. But right now, me as a jiva thinks that I am the space inside the clay pot. So pot being my body. So I think that my Swarupam, is contained in the pot or contained in the body, right? That's my recognition right now. Right now, I recognize me as this space inside, or me inside this body. So that's a Ghadakasham, the Akasham, or the space inside the Ghadam. But if we really think about it, what is inside pot is space. What's outside pot is also space. What is within pot also space. So which means that pot is actually in the space, not the other way around. The space is not inside the pot. The pot is, the akasham is, the space is everywhere. So the ghatam, the pot, actually is in the space, which means our body, our mind, our buddhi is in this consciousness, in this vast consciousness. And of course, that we will understand that once we have that chitta shuddhi, chitta sthiti, and then that jnanam, that I am that, or tattvamasi, will light up within us, and we will recognize that we are that unlimited consciousness. So that process, we recognizing that, is the Sayujya Padavi. Vedanta and this one is no different. They are talking about the same thing. So Bhavanitvam here is that Aham Bhavani, or Bhavani-nas, Bhavanitvam. Like, there are words like Kavitvam or Devatvam. That is where the second word, Bhavanitvam, being Bhavani, like the characteristic of Bhavani. So that is what we want to become. And hopefully this lifetime itself let us identify us with that Bhavani. May Bhavani bless us all to get that stage. A quick summary once again. Bhavani Tvam Dāse Mayi Vidya Dṛṣṭim Sakaruṇām iti stodum vanchan kathayati Bhavani Tvamitiya tadaivatvam tasmai dishasi nija sayujya padavim mukunta brahmendra sputa makuta nirajita padam. The individual who is desiring to pray to you with the words, O Bhavani, bestow your compassionate gaze on me, your servant, will find that as soon as they utter the first two words, O Bhavani, the Divine Mother instantly grants them Sayujyam, the highest state of complete oneness with Devi. At that same feat, divine beings such as Vishnu, Brahma, Indra bow down, appearing as if they are doing arati with their crowns.
Bhavani Tvam Dāse Mayi Vitara Dṛṣṭim Sakaruṇām iti stotum vanchan kathayati Bhavani Tvamitiya tadaivatvam tasmai dishasi nija sayujya padavim mukunda brahmendra sputamakuda nirajita padam.
May Devi's blessings be with you all always. Sarvam Shri Jagadambika Padaravindarpanamastu.